Today we're going to talk about the effect of a breakup on your brain, and we're going to discuss neurochemistry. I'm a strong believer that when you start understanding how we function, how our brain functions, we're able to cope with difficult situations better, to address things in our life, and to also move forward, because I know how painful a breakup can be. And usually this pain can be managed. The strong emotions, those negative emotions that you feel right now can be managed if you understand how your brain functions. And what I love about neuroscience is that once you know about those things, you feel as if you have superpower, right? Because for once, you're now able to really control some aspects of your life and you know how you work. It's a little bit like if you're a mechanic and you don't know how the engine works. Well, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss about what's going on inside and how you can leverage this knowledge to feel better right away.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So when I prepared this presentation, I looked at why do we miss people? So the science behind missing someone. And I will create this video from your point of view. If you are heartbroken, if your partner broke up with you. But I see this in a way as a mirror, because if you do the right things, your ex will also miss you. Right? If you go no contact, if you are respectful, if you act with maturity, if you've been in a strong, respectful relationship, i.e. a life-defining relationship, as I like to call them, then this will apply as well to your ex. If you're not sure what is life-defining relationship, I put together a quiz to assess whether you have any chance of getting back with your ex. The link is in the description. And just to make a long story short, only 25% of people can get their ex back because there's so many factors. It's kind of a strict quiz assessment. So have a look, and it's totally free. There's a link in the description. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes. At least you have a score telling you whether you have any chance or not. And if you do, it means that what I'm about to say about how you perceive and how your brain works would be the same for your ex if he or she has a brain. The impact of breakups on the brain. So when we look, it's very interesting. When you look at brain scan, the same region of the brain is activated, the same region that activates physical pain is activated when you feel a heartbreak. So in other words, the location of those regions like the amygdala, anterior cingulate cortex, insula are involved. What it means basically, these are really kind of a primitive. Amygdala is known for being like the first brain, and then we developed other brains. So it's basically very much instinctive, very animal, right, driven type of reaction. The thing is, once you activate those zones and once you create neural pathways, the way to heal is to rewire. I talk about a lot about how you can rewire things in your brain. That's how you change the perception. That's how you change also the narrative. So there's a lot of, it's interesting because I also talk a lot about the story we tell ourselves. But in a way, the same way applies in how our brain is structured. We have different pathways, and when we continue obsessing on one pathway, this pathway becomes stronger and stronger. And the idea is to really divert this channel, divert this pathway to another one, to a healthier one, to a more balanced one. And that's why it's crucial, it's important to reflect in a structured way. I try as much as I can to give you a structured approach on how to deal with the breakup. And if you don't get back with your ex, the idea is to break away from those repeating toxic patterns. Because sometimes you can't get back with your ex, I won't lie. But if you don't, it doesn't matter, because you would be more empowered, because you have this superpower that I discussed before. So the science behind missing someone. So these are the hormones and the neurotransmitters from emotional bonds. We are hardwired to be attached to someone to create emotional bonds. Very often we refer human beings as social animal. We have to connect, and that's very much the case with our primary attachment figure. So what we, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all those hormones are associated with love, a feeling of pleasure, feeling of being happy, right? Because we share something. So it's not only you have sex that produces a lot of hormones, but also like sharing times together, being happy with that person, right? And spending time with someone you love causes a surge in those chemicals. What does that mean in terms of our brain chemistry? Is that surge in chemicals, that cycle of that reward cycle, is the same as addiction. And so the way you feel after you break up with someone is the same pain, the same mechanism in your brain than when people who are addicted feel those withdrawal symptoms. It's exactly the same. Because you don't get this surge of chemicals of dopamine, of oxytocin. And you feel, that's why sometimes people are very clingy and very needy, because they need their fix. I want to get this, because the other is providing them. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get those great hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. And you used to get them from your partner. That's how and it worked for a very long time. So you have this neural pathway, like happiness, my partner, happiness, my partner. Now you remove that person, your brain is saying, I'm craving this, I want this. And for you, the only option is to get back, or is to cling, or to contact your ex. But from a chemical perspective, it's just because you're missing those things. You're missing ways to create dopamine and oxytocin. So I'm going to discuss how you do it after. And so the effect of withdrawal, that's why you sometimes feel depressed and anxious. Your brain is like, what the fuck? I'm lost. Because you're going to stop producing those happy chemicals. And that stimulation that you get from spending time with your partner, texting your partner, I don't know, sharing what you've been doing your day, doing things together, isn't there. And so it can take months to overcome, because you create that imbalance, from a chemical point of view in your brain. There was a structure, there was something that gave you that sort of drug, right? Used to smoke, and then from one day to another, someone will steal that pack of cigarettes, and then you can't smoke anymore. But you used to smoke. That's your habit. Every morning you light up a cigarette, and what do you do now that you can't light that cigarette? It's exactly the same. Very similar to how you would perceive addiction. An addiction, so what it is, an addiction, is when you use something external for your own benefit. You drink to get that pleasure, to get being tipsy and so on and so forth. You smoke because you feel like more relaxed. You get connected with your partner because it gives you all those happy chemicals. Okay, it's exactly the same. That's what's happening to you. And when you stop something so rapidly, this is create like a form of trauma, which could lead to depression and anxiety. And when you're exposed to your ex, whether you're stalking them on social media or you send them messages and they reply, whether it's mixed signal or not, you repeat. So it's kind of, you stop smoking. Again, I like the idea of smoking because I think it's quite easy for people to understand. You used to smoke like a pack a day. If like, and like you're forced to stop, but then you're smoking like one cigarette every now and then. So you're not, to discuss about like the neural pathways. How can you build new neural pathways if you continue using that road? So it's really about accepting, and we're going to discuss that after. How can you channel this information? How can I find more balance? You don't need external products to feel better. And that's why it's so important to understand self-care. And no wonder it's a big thing nowadays, because we are so bombarded by things on social media, TV, internet, about things that will give us pleasure, give us a status, give us like external stimuli, right? And we feel like, oh yeah, I need this new pair of shoes. I'm going to be happier if I get that pair of shoes. I need this new gadget because so it's exactly some sort of the same. You're trying to get something from your ex. The problem is that your ex doesn't want to give that to you. So practicing self-care will reduce anxiety and depression. One way to release endorphin is to engage in enjoyable activities, whatever it is that you like to do. For example, like swimming is a great activity. It's probably the best cardio workout you could do because you can't really enjoy yourself. I hate swimming, so I don't swim. But I have other things that I can do to work out, or I like rowing, for example, because I can watch silly stuff on Netflix while I row. For example, exercise also, and that helps you also regulate your mood and increase endorphins. Sleep is crucial. Your brain needs sleep to rebalance all the chemical activities there. So important for emotional regulation. No wonder when you have a newborn, you're not really in a good mood and you're not very productive. I remember those days. I don't cherish them very much in terms of my sleep when my kids were newborns. But I really remember that I was useless at work and I was so moody because we were all lacking sleep. Mindfulness also can reduce stress and anxiety because again, we're tuning in away from these external things, stimuli. One other very important factor is the power of social support. So when I say you're using external factors, it's kind of contradicting with the fact that we are social animal. The idea is to have a healthy social network. The problem that you're also feeling is that feeling of loneliness. So the more time you spend with people you like, people you appreciate, people who love you back, the better you'll feel. Interacting with other people will release the same happy chemicals. So don't think like, it's only my husband or my wife that would give me this. No, actually studies have shown that it's more or less the same if you have friends, good friends, if you spend time with friends. Also important for you to discuss, to explain things, to vent. Sometimes could be with your very close friends, could be with a therapist. Conversation is one way also to really help with those strong emotions. A therapist will have a structured way to unpack those emotions. Sometimes just discussing with the best friend is enough. And so what you have to understand is if you want to deal with the breakup and you stay at home watching my videos, it's okay. But if you stay at home, you don't do anything, you don't see anyone, trust me, the pain of the breakup, you'll feel it for a very, very long time. Because the neural pathway, and you're going to try in your mind to get those things. And the more you feel that you can't get those things, the more difficult it will become. The more obsessed you'll be about getting back with your ex. The more obsessed you'll be stalking your ex, trying getting your little fix, right? So be aware of those things. Some coping strategies. Accepting the end of the relationship. By understanding that this door is closed, that all relationship is closed, and accepting, I've done a video about the chimp paradox. When we use our chimp, which is basically amygdala and all the sort of what we call the chimp brain, so anything that's very emotional. When we have this feeling of unfairness, we fight back, we cling, we're needy, but that doesn't help us to feel better. One way to make this chimp to slow down, to stop making your life worse than it should be, you have to accept the situation for what it is. They decided to end the relationship. You don't agree, it's hard for you, but you have to accept it. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not because you accept that you're never gonna get back with them. But right now, the situation is you're single, they're single or they're dating someone, but you're single, you have to accept it. Another thing important is to embrace change. Your situation is difficult. You might be thinking, it sucks. But trust me, it's in those moments that you find potentially the best things you could learn about yourself, about your life. These moments, usually the hardest moments in people's lives, are the most important, are really the ones that define your life. So you don't feel like it, but trust me, you should be grateful to have the opportunity to actually reflect, to actually, maybe the rage that you have, the anger that you have, let's use it as a driver for you to change. Because there's personal transformation. This breakup implies a personal transformation. Another coping strategy is to keep yourself busy, because it gives you a sense of purpose. When everything in your life is revolving around your partner and that partner is removed, that's why you have no motivation whatsoever to wake up. Because I don't have anything to do. So find things where you would be looking up to. Register to a marathon, to a race where you feel like, okay, in 6 months I have to run a marathon. So I'm looking up to this. Looking forward to this. And every week you'll think about this end goal. Other coping strategies is to avoid triggers. That's why it's important to go no contact, and would I advise you to unfollow your partner, your ex, from social media. Don't block them, but unfollow them. Because the same way you want to stop smoking and you're forced to stop smoking, having one fag every now and then won't help you. It will actually prolong the pain. And you can also seek help from a therapist to better reflect on your situation. There are tons of qualified therapists out there. It doesn't have to be me, but trust me, getting help from someone to unpack will really make it more productive. Any question, if you find that this video was helpful, don't forget to like. It does help me as well. You can also subscribe to watch other videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.